Hey guys, we call this a sewing video, even though I'm not sewing. I have decided that my sewing machine is going to sit right here. This is going to be my sewing table. So now lay this out on the table. See the back of this? I can't tell if it's one. I think it is one piece. What I might be able to do, though, is yeah, it's one piece. What I'd like to be able to do is use this backing. Although this backing is dirty. Yuck. Can't use that one. Let me grab the pink ones because those were in my room, so those shouldn't be dirty. And you can't wash these properly. Okay, let's see what this one looks like on the inside. Keep in mind, the insides of these really can't be washed. It's not the best. Yeah, this is glued onto the. I could try to soak it, but it doesn't even smell good. Because it smells like smoke. I could try to. I could try to soak it. Cut the trim off and put this part, okay, the pink part, up against, the pink part up against the green. Although I'm afraid the pink will show through and it might not work either. I need to figure out a way to use that green fabric and make it a blackout. These are disgusting, so they smell like smoke. Gross. I need to come up with some kind of backing. We're talking about green cotton fabric. But yeah, I'm going to put my sewing machine right here, and I'll have room, because it's a small sewing machine, I'll have room to groove, so to speak. There. What I might do too is clear this out and make this a sewing area. You know what? Let's do that. Let's clear this out and make this the sewing area. Take Mom's computer, which I need to use. I'm gonna put it right here. Keep it safe. There. Okay. This over here. I'm just gonna pull this out and figure out where it goes after. Fix. This is all my Scentsy stuff. So this has to have its own home. Oh, see me burping away. I know what to do with these. I've got an empty drawer in my room for those. These are going to stay right in my top drawer so that I can get them, because they're on my cards, obviously. There we go. Okay, now to put these out. The other one we draw in the bedroom. These are also in that drawer. And so these. Hold on, guys. That goes with the song. Perfect. This is pictures, which will go down here. Nope. Under here. Under here. There we go. Okay. Now, this part is my sewing station. What do you think? I have they're in there. I mean, it's not a huge sewing station, but I don't need a huge sewing station. This is awesome. And when I'm not using my sewing machine, it's small enough to sit right here and close it up. And if I, over time, need places for fabric patterns or anything, I can rearrange drawers. But yeah, that's my sewing station. So that's going to be great. Back here. 2 cents. Oh, Paul, I guess you put in your 2 cents worth. Literally. Trying to dust this. I don't know how this ended up so dusty. There we go. Okay. What do you think? Well, because I'm left-handed, I'm going to do it over here. And yes, this will hold it because there's these pieces of wood down here. This is not just hanging out in the breeze. There are actually wood. There's actually wood down here, right here. I don't know if you're looking at it or not. I can't. Hold on. I can't tell. Right there. Right there. Right here. On both sides. So that would be my sewing station. And in actuality, I could put patterns in these slots. The stuff that comes in the sewing kit that comes with the sewing machine will go in the drawers. So I actually don't need my sewing basket that I was going to use. Well, maybe I do. In the sense that I could use it for fabrics, stuff like that over time. Because it's going to be too big to put in here unless I put something in one of the drawers. But overall, I think we got ourselves a sewing station. Like I said, my first goal was curtains, which is easy. Once you get the sewing machine set up, curtains are probably one of the easiest things to make. If I have any other stuff that can go in there, I don't think so. I might look for sewing books at the used bookstore. So, yeah, that's the little thing doesn't push in very well. There we go. And then, got it in. Good. Doesn't stay. But if you were as old as this desk, you wouldn't stay either. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the lock is broken, which does not matter to me because I'm not going to lock up my sewing stuff. Like I said, I think that sewing machine is small enough to push back right here in the middle, in that middle spot, and close it up. I could be wrong, and it's okay if I am. Pull a chair over, and because the reason that these are curved, other than looks, let's show you what I'm talking about. I gotta change the battery. Curved, other than looks, is so you can sit there. Let me change the battery, guys. As I was saying, I don't think I have any more of my mother's sewing stuff, unfortunately. A lot of it was in the pockets of the dust cover to her sewing machine when she lent it to Diane, and it broke. So, my mom just never replaced it. So, anyway, I'm going to bring you over here. So yeah, that's my plans for my sewing machine. I'm very excited about that. Can you tell? About having my own sewing machine. I just have to carefully read the directions and figure out. My tea here, it should be cool enough to drink. It's good. Yum. You know, for me, it's a great way to stay close to my mom. Because my mom made me clothes and everything else. I remember the most beautiful skirt she made me. Made me a pair of pants out of the same fabric. It was similar to this shirt. In that it had roses and stuff. Oh, it was beautiful. And a black background. It was absolutely gorgeous. And I'm so grateful. And some of the stuff that you need with a sewing machine are relatively inexpensive. Like a package of pins for when you're ready to use patterns and stuff. A package of pins is helpful. You can get a package of pins fairly cheap. I'll get them in the sewing section at Walmart when I'm over there. Ow. I do want to publicly thank my neighbor Bob for taking me shopping with him, for going today to get my antibiotics. He is a lovely, lovely man. Thank you, Bob Stebbins. So yeah, I'll go to the sewing section. First, I'll see exactly what the sewing machine comes with, because it's hard to tell in the small pictures what's in the little kits they come with. But that is the perfect thing for a small sewing machine. You know, we're not talking about a giant full-sized Singer or Brother sewing machine here. We're talking a sewing machine that has 12 stitches, which is more than enough for me. It was, after tax, maybe $52. It's all purple. It's so pretty. And that's actually a really good price for a sewing machine that contains 12 stitches. 12 different types of stitch. Which, let's face it, am I going to use 12 different types of stitch? Probably not, but it made for a better sewing machine. You know? Trying to think. Comes with, like I said, a little sewing kit with some threaded bobbins, some thread, extra needles, that sort of thing. As long as you don't act like it's NASCAR, you shouldn't break the needle. Sewing machine needle is a little bit thicker at the base than a hand sewing needle. It's also sharper, so keep your fingers away. Because believe me, you could stick that needle through your finger very easily. And it would be very, very unpleasant, needless to say. Another reason why it's not NASCAR. Yuck. I'm going to heat up my soup from yesterday, and I am going to watch a movie. Probably have to do that in my room. But I'm not going to do it right now because I don't know when Bob's going to the store. I don't want to hear him knock, and I won't hear him knock if I'm in my room. What else was I going to say? Oops. I think that's it. Like I said, I may need pins. I'm probably going to need a pin cushion, which is just a little tomato. Again, very inexpensive. Something I can get at Walmart, no problem. So yeah. And have I ever sewed anything? Yes, actually I have. I made a pillowcase all by myself. Actually, I made a pillow, not a pillowcase. I made a pillow. We had fabric from the mill, and they were in these squares, almost like for quilting. I think they were supposed to be samples or something. My dad used to get them. They used to give them to him. And they used to give him fabric, and they used to give him blankets and different things. And so this particular fabric came in these squares, or they were more rectangles than square, I think. So I took 4 of them, stitched them together, down the middle the short way and across the middle the other way. And I did that a second time. I stuffed it and I stitched the rest of the edge. I did it all by myself, no mom, no help. And my mom said I did a really good job, and I did. I actually made the pillow for my cat, which he did use it. The fabric was a little rougher than something you would lay on, unless you put a pillowcase over it. But this was more of a decorative pillow, not the kind of pillow you'd put a pillowcase over. And I did it freehand. I didn't have a pattern. I just knew if I took 4 of them, it would be the right size. And I stitched them together. I took 4 again, stitched them together, stitched 3 edges, stuffed it, and stitched the last edge. Now, when doing something that's stuffed, like a stuffed animal or pillow, a lot of people, and the way I was taught in home ec class, was that you hand stitch that last little bit where you stuffed it. You leave like a gap about that big to stuff it, and then you hand stitch that. You can, but you could also stitch it on the machine, which I did. My hand stitching is terrible. It's too wide. But because we made stuffed animals in different kinds of decorative furry pillows and things in our home ec class. And again, we had to stitch after we stuffed. We had to hand stitch, and it wasn't easy. And you don't know how many, because I didn't really know what I was doing, how many needles I broke in the sewing machine. And I remember telling my mother, coming home and telling my mother, the home ec teacher said if I broke another needle, I would have to pay for it. And my mother said, first of all, those needles shouldn't break. I said, we're trying to sew these thick, furry, stuffed animals. She said that you need a heavier duty needle. You're using the wrong needle for the job. And my mother's been sewing for, by the time Well, by that time, my mother had been sewing for 40 years. And there are different types of needles for different jobs, even for the sewing machine. She said, you're using the wrong type of needle, and I'm not paying for a needle because they're breaking when you're using the wrong type of needle. And even the teacher broke a needle doing that. Those needles shouldn't snap in half. She's right about that. You're using the wrong gauge needle. It's that simple. And I didn't understand, because I had only just started sewing. And but as an adult, my mother taught me a lot. Unfortunately, I never learned about where the thread from the bobbin goes. If I'm not mistaken, you take the spool that you have up on the little point, because there's a little point on the top of the sewing machine that you set a spool of thread on. You take that, you thread that into the needle, and I think you bring the thread up from the bobbin and also thread the needle with that. Please correct me in the comments, but I think that's what you do. So you have both threads, then you begin to sew, and it sews with both. I could be wrong. You can get plastic bobbins or metal bobbins. My mother preferred metal bobbins, which any old-time sewer will prefer a metal bobbin. If you've never seen a bobbin, for those of you who might be men, although I think most of the people who watch me are female, or those of you who've never sewn a stitch on a sewing machine, that you might not know what a bobbin looks like. So let me show you a bobbin. Let's do images. Okay, there's a couple of versions of a bobbin. I need a tissue. Hold on 1 second. Pull them up themselves and paint the trim themselves. And he had a blast. He was smiling, laughing. And he does communicate. Someone compared him to an eggplant or something, and it's like, does an eggplant tell you no? It's like, and he'll go. And he kind of shakes his whole body. And his mother will go, no. And he'll grin at her because he understands, but he isn't verbal. He tries real hard. He'll make noises and he'll try to, get a point across, but it must be frustrating for him in a way to be almost stuck. He's 5 years old and he's stuck as a perpetual toddler, in the body of a 2-year-old. And he knows he's 5 years old, but when he wants to eat, he touches his neck, touches his throat. Feed me, He sometimes does that anyway, like if he has a sore throat, or he'll you know, if he has an earache or something, he can be playing with his ears like a baby. He has to communicate like a baby. But once you I don't think that he's capable of learning to talk. I could be wrong. Stephanie, correct me if I'm wrong. He does move. He rolls over. That's how he gets around when he's on the floor. He just keeps rolling. It's really funny. She said, but I wanted to show you guys him rolling over because I never had, and a lot of people asked, you know, and a lot of people were excited when they saw him roll over. She said, he knows how to roll over. I just never showed it to you, so you thought it was a new thing. Which is true. And he does have physical therapy. His muscles are very tight, similar to spasticity in cerebral palsy. I have left hemiplegic cerebral palsy, and mine is considered spastic, like backups. I have been very fortunate in that, even though it took me a long time, I learned to walk. I had the bad hip and the tight legs, so it took me a while, but I learned. For me, there were, you know, other circumstances that led to it taking longer. Things like my hip, and also some of the things that kept me from that delayed my development when I was little, was that I was virtually blind. When you can't see, it's hard to know what to do. You know? When you can't see, I literally would take this cup, okay? I love this tea. And go to put it on the table, and inevitably it would end up on the floor because I don't have the depth perception. So if I went to put this on this table without my glasses on, I'm not going to do it because I would drop it on the floor. But let me do it with something else to show you. Put this at the table, okay? All right, let me take this DVD. No, let me take this remote control. Now, you see the table? If I'm just playing, okay, and I decide to put my cup on the table, okay? I'm going to take my glasses off. Glasses are gone. All right, I'll sit back and go to put this on the table, okay? Just going to, actually I did it, but that's from instinct. I know where it is. Let's see if I can do this. That's what would happen with a cup every time. I did it that way because I had my hand on the table so I could feel the table. But I didn't have the depth perception to do it. And in fact, my eye doctor, my ophthalmologist, an ophthalmologist, by the way, is a physician for the eyes. An optometrist just examines the eyes and prescribes glasses. An ophthalmologist does eye surgeries and diagnoses eye disease. And of course, eye diseases are words, like that long. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. Like that long. And so he diagnosed my eye diseases, and he told my mother, he said, Mrs. Wilson, if you stood next to your refrigerator in your kitchen and didn't move, Angelina couldn't tell the difference. And my mother was like, the normal response, what? We've been saying to her jokingly, what, are you blind? And you're telling me she, in fact, is basically blind? Yes, that's what I'm telling you, Mrs. Wilson. Your child is legally blind in her right eye. So, I had patch therapy. It's where you patch over the eye. You put a patch over my good eye, leaving me basically blind. Matter of fact, the eye doctor, God rest his soul, at Walmart wanted me to restart patch therapy. I was like, really? Dude? I can't see a freaking thing. It's not going to change. It hasn't changed in 40 some odd years. And I had to go back to my ophthalmologist years later because I've always had very long eyelashes, and they started curling it into my eye, and the duct got blocked. So he went in, he took the eyebrow out, the eyelash out, and he said, put hot compresses, and if that duct doesn't unblock and that swelling doesn't go down, I'm going to have to do eye surgery on you to unblock that duct. Oh, great. So we got it unblocked. It was right after that I was diagnosed with cancer the first time. It was one of the first lumps that I had, other than the one in my neck. And it may have been blocked because of the cancer. We don't know. And so I asked him when I was there about a driver's license. He just looked at me and said, no, without hesitation. Did not hesitate. I was like, okay, Dr. Kazarian, thank you. It's funny. He has the same name as Frankie. It's Dr. Kazarian. So the very first time I heard Frankie Kazarian, I went, this is my doctor's name, And he is still practicing ophthalmology at the University of Massachusetts to this day. This man's been an ophthalmologist for 50 years. Well, you figure I started going to him, oh, good Lord, 40, well, I was 2, almost 47 years ago. And it was like, when I read recently that he's still there, it's like, are you kidding me? He's been in practice over 50 years. And he looked at me the day I went back there, because they had brought me back and had set me in the hallway to put me in a room. And he walked by me, he pointed at me, and he said, Cookie Monster. And I went, he remembers me. How does he remember me? After all these years, And so, but when I first started seeing Frankie, it put a smile on my face, Don't know where Frankie got the name Kazarian from, but because his name is Frankie Girdleman. So I have no earthly idea where he got Kazarian from, and I'd love to ask him. At any rate, I am going to end the vlog. I hope you enjoyed this, like I said, trip down memory lane. We talked about sewing, we talked about my eyes, which should have been a different vlog, but anyway. That's the reason I need the needle threader. But I also have my magnifying glass, so that's going to help greatly with threading the needle. So, but one of the problems I have with threading the needle, besides seeing it, is the hand-eye coordination of, okay, I see where it is, but can I put it in? Or am I going to keep putting it in next to it, behind it, in front of it? Because my eyes and my hands don't coordinate. That is extremely frustrating, by the way. When I'm trying to do different things, and when I'm trying to like put something together and I can't get the two pieces to line up no matter what I stink and do. They end up behind each other, in front of each other, on top, below. It's awful. And it's like, I know where you go. Go where you go. But my eyes and my hands can't work together to put it where it goes. And that's because of my vision. And I've said this on other vlogs when I've been doing something. Hand-eye coordination would be nice, you know. So, and it would be helpful. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless you. I am going to get food. Please like the video, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell for notifications. Please leave a comment or an emoji.